welcome to this week's episode of Medicine with Jesus. And this week we're going to look at communicable and non-communicable diseases. What are these? What am I even talking about? So communicable diseases are the kind of diseases that you can spread from one person to another. These are often infectious in that there is a causative agent, and spreading that causative agent is actually what makes you spread the disease. Whereas non-communicable diseases are the kind of diseases that don't necessarily have an infectious agent, which means you can't spread them. An example of communicable disease I can use is like COVID. See, COVID is a kind of disease that you spread when you transmit the COVID virus from yourself to someone else. You're then spreading the disease. That is a perfect example of a communicable disease. Non-communicable diseases, I can use an example such as hypertension, diabetes, that kind of thing, where even if you have it, you can't necessarily transmit it to the next person. So statistics actually show that there is an increase in non-communicable diseases. And if I could just throw this in, diet and lifestyle are an important factor in preventing non-communicable diseases. And now to talk about communicable diseases. See, in the treatment, or an important aspect in treating communicable diseases, is that we also consider isolation or quarantine so that you prevent the spread of the disease. So not only will we treat you for the disease that you have, but then we will also prevent you from spreading it, and that is mostly by isolating you from society. That's the practice that we had, and hopefully will not have. But that's the kind of practice that we had when we're experiencing COVID. We would often isolate COVID patients so that they do not spread the disease to other people. If you remember, there was a time when we had cholera here in Zambia, and a specific place would take cholera patients just so that we could try to reduce the spread of the disease. So an important aspect in the treatment of communicable diseases is not only do we treat the disease itself, but we also prevent the spread of the disease, often by isolation. So what Christian principle can we learn from this? See, I once learned that doubt is contagious. You can seriously spread your doubt from yourself to someone else who's going to spread it to someone else. And the reason why we actually encourage isolation with communicable diseases is that you could recover quite all right, but you could actually spread the disease to someone whose chances of recovery are low, and the person could actually die. And that's the same thing with doubt. I don't know if you've ever found yourself in that encounter where you're with people, you just have an experience that you walk out and you're now questioning your faith. And there's a difference between asking healthy questions in order for you to grow, and then there's also a difference between asking questions that insinuate doubt just so that you can shake people's minds. And not only with questions, but even just how we act. Don't act in ways that people are going to doubt the existence of God. Don't live your life in a way that you are no longer proof of a living and a loving God. So when it comes back to the type of conversations and questions that we ask, let's be careful. You could have certain doubts, you could have certain questions, and then you would bring them out to the public, and there's someone who is genuinely going to lose faith because of that. You could recover from your position of doubt, but there's a soul that's going to be lost because of the influence you had upon them. Listen to what is written in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14. It is written, "Keep reminding God's people of these things. Warn them before God against quarreling about words. It is of no value and only ruins those who listen." There are some times when we engage in conversations and quarrels that genuinely have got no salvation in them. And the problem with that is, one, it is of no value, and it often just brings ruin to the person who hears. So let's be mindful of our conversations and even our conduct, that may our very existence be proof of a living God, and may our very existence be proof of a loving God. Beware, lest in how you behave, you spread doubt. Doubt is very contagious, so don't allow yourself to be a channel through which it spreads. That was Medicine with Jesus for the week, and till next time, bye.